Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cockgainles.
You happen to do it. Stuart, yes, hello, Captain Foley. We're doing, as you can imagine, Stuart, ship videos based on this week. But we're going to break them down a little bit into a first reaction and a breakdown fully because there's, as you guys can imagine, that'll take a bit of time to, do it justice. But we also wanted to get the first reaction thoughts because we just watched this, both of us, within the last sort of 3 hours each. These feelings are going to be right now and want to express them and sort of live that with you guys and see what our brains see before I compare them with renders and see what they actually did and credit the detail these team members worked on. So, of course, Enterprise D appeared, Stuart, not a replica, no whatever. It was Enterprise D. And here is the first shot we see of it.
This is the second shot. When the doors open, you see a bit of a silhouette.
Wow. This is the first shot we see it clearly now. The fog has gone. There you go. How did you feel in this moment? And talk me through.
Well, we kind of knew this was coming for different reasons. And I was still very stoked about it. Wasn't sure exactly how it was going to look. Hoping for the best and kind of expecting, who knows what. But yeah, very, very pleased with this. The lighting for this first shot, I was kind of I hope they really show it better than this, which we do get, of course. But honestly, it was a good first little reveal, and I'm very happy. It looks very, very good as far as I'm concerned. I see some things I might want to talk about, but anyway, what were your thoughts? Because you're the ship guy. Really, you work with this model quite a bit, so.
I've worked with the ILM one, I've worked with the Tobias one, I've worked with the Gabe one, all three Canon models. I've worked with, the whole plethora. Just did 54 shots for my Enterprise D dock. I know it well. Yeah, again, we were told, we knew, we hinted, it would appear in some form, right? At least that was what I was let in on. So, and you could have, you could have said source only. But, you'd hope it'd be the full ship, and it was the full ship. Obviously, the back half was pieces from other galaxies. Fine, absolutely fine. So it is, but the home is the saucer, right? So it's still the most important part, and also the bridge. As trash as it was, some of that wood is still there, right? So to see it, yeah. And this first shot was really brave, or the second shot, you say, is really brave of them, because this is really close to the hull. You're starting with the hardest shot to get right. And because it's dark, you're not being hidden by the blur of other stuff going on. So I was like, damn. But boy, those escape pod hatches look freaking great. That's what I saw. They're actually actual detail, actual physical.
The one thing that stood out to me was the raised lip around the windows, and the escape pods seems a little bit too prominent to me, personally. I don't know 100%, but...
Enterprise D windows, as far as I'm aware, are recessed. They don't extrude. So they're ovals, not squares.
Yeah.
So the windows aren't right as far as I know, but we'll do comparisons. But I can imagine they said, hey, we probably did this recently. If we make them internal window, accurately internal this close, you won't read them as well. This adds more detail because Enterprise D is a very smooth saucer, except for little details. Adding them as bumps feels a lot more detailed, even if it's not necessarily correct. And certainly the windows right in front of the bridge being a stack of rectangles with a pointed rectangle looks really weird. But this is an extreme close-up. I wouldn't even do this level for most shots because it's just really excessive. What you really meant to do is appreciate from these views, Stuart. Now, holy hell. This thing is coming to life, and obviously you can't tell the windows are whatever they are. That top shot looks right out TNG remastered, because there was a shot similar to this, and it doesn't look like Picard in a sense. It actually just looks like Enterprise D, which that's what it is. What do you think, Stuart? Look at them. It's staring, because in the episode we were taken up by the moment. There was motion, but still. What does your brain and your heart say?
My heart loves it. My brain says yes as well. Everything looks correct and good for sure. The one thing I did notice when it came out, though, is the striping or the Aztecing pattern on the nacelles was quite prominent. And I'm not sure if that stood out to you at all, but and again, the caveat here is, of course, this is sourced from other Galaxy classes. Might not be exactly the same, but overall, that first shot in the... Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful shot.
Yeah, the Aztecing is a tricky one because,
Lighting and stuff affects it, so...
Yeah, and, the 6 foot, the 4 foot, the 2 foot miniature. I mean, there is 3 to 4 different canon versions of how it looks, and certainly I prefer the 6 foot, the movie one, because it is the most detailed, even though it's not the most detailed because they're more detailed, but it's out of scale detail, so it reads better on screen, but looks worse.
I oddly know exactly what you're talking about.
As you should, good fellow. So there's a lot of caveats here. That, this can be a version of this. There is no right version, although I would argue that the Farpoint version is the original because that's like how it was approved originally. What's funny about me is that the first shot looks basically perfect. Proportions look right, the colours look right. The bottom one, suddenly the warp grills are purpling. Just that, because I believe you me, I pay attention to how blue the warp grills are, and I hue shift them if they've rendered wrong in my films, because there's a certain, you know what it should be, but it does also change throughout the show a little bit. So I'm not complaining, but the top view, like, that feels right. The bottom one feels like it's now purple. I don't know if it's also because it's been de-lightened, because when you render something or take picture, there's a top brightness level and it overexposes detail. So if you pull down an overexposed area, you now get a slightly less bright overexposed area. You're not getting detail back because it's overexposed. So if you pull back to white and you make white less bright, it becomes a grey white versus whatever it should be. So I wonder if maybe they rendered the bottom bit too bright and pull it down, and now it looks like a more muted blue versus a different blue. Because the top one has a pop that seems brighter as well. Even the facades have a bit less brightness.
Well, yeah, one being in the hangar bay, I mean, it's got different lighting for sure. Outside, like I said, the lighting on the top of that ship's pretty bright. And then you got the planet in the background. So a lot of things could be affecting that.
These are self-illumination, though. They wouldn't be affected by things because they're...
Well, they would, though. Tricks of the eye, I think. But the things around them, yes, they might look exactly the same should you take everything else out, but your eye reads it different, I think.
And you're mostly right, but then also you got to think, are we doing it based on real physics or TNG? Because TNG was a miniature that was rendered in passes, so the blue was always the same blue, it was not affected by anything else, because there was nothing else in the shot to be affected by.
No, what I mean, everything together, your eyes take all that into account, so things look a little off unless you focus specifically on them. And I think with the blue planet, with the nebula behind that, and with the really bright lighting kind of up and behind, I don't know. I didn't see purple. I still don't. I look at the two side by side here, the top one and the bottom one, and they look the same. So
the funny thing that I also noticed is that conventionally lit, the Enterprise D very bright from a strong key light, because that's just how they did miniatures. We associate most Trek ships with having a NCC spotlight to illuminate the registry, and for the longest time I thought that Enterprise D had that, because of course it should. I even put in, I believe, Temporal Anomalies and some other old projects, because of course it did. And it's pointed out, no, it doesn't. And it's like, oh, no, it doesn't. So the top actually feels almost too flat, like it's missing the self-illumination, because normally you'd light it in a slightly different way to create more, like there's too much of the back that's being lit. That's just because of planets like that. That's just the light. You normally light it from the side, you get all these lovely contrast shadows versus back a lot bright, front dark. But that's just where the sun is. You can't affect that really.
No, I agree with you. When this shot happened, I thought it's missing self-illumination. I thought the same thing. So,
but it's not. But it is.
I know.
It's yeah. It's funny the brain.
So the other thing I find interesting is the fact that you powered this thing up, right? Did you just randomly assign lights to certain quarters to turn on? Because really, technically, there should be no lights on, like all over the ship, and randomized like that. They're either all on or all off, I think is how you'd have it set. Thoughts? There's nobody living on this thing.
We have talked about this a few times recently. The idea of one easy win in CG is not having every light on, because every light on is every single room is turned on, from the crew quarters that are empty, from the rooms that aren't being used. It's unnecessary, and more amateur CG models make a window texture and make them all lit. The more experienced modeler knows to add variation to it, either in color or have stuff off. It's always you can tell the experience level it jumps when you do that, and that's So I adore the way it looks, the color variation, the light variation, the on variation. I think it looks super organic and super real. But at the same time, why is Lieutenant what was the guy from First Contact who got shot? Lynch.
Yeah, Lieutenant Hawk.
Maybe if he came from
Lynch,
Lynch and Hawk, if they both came from the E, from the D to the E, are their quarters on? There's all Lynch's quarters on. I don't know. I think it'd be hard pressed to find justification, except maybe the default pattern of some people maybe because of the ship was destroyed, so as in removed from service, so maybe crew people have a default light setting for their quarters because of personal preference, and so the on switch, a lot of people's quarters are at 30% light, which looks black compared to someone who likes 100%. There's a possible reason. I'm not really fussed about it either way, to be honest. I love the variation. I think it's really good, as it should look.
It's exactly, it's how it should look, and nobody's really going to notice that. And if they had turned all the lights off, people would be like, "Why aren't the lights on? Something doesn't look right." So yeah,
this is why you just do it the way it looked on screen. This is why for me, the Enterprise D from season 1, episode 1 is an atrocious thing. It's chrome. It's got wrong details. The windows are all it looks so disgusting to me compared to what D should look like. This is almost pitch perfect, right? Because I understand that was a hallucination, dream, blah blah blah, but it could look like this, right? Could have been just, no. I can't wait to do a full breakdown and really compare these angles and see what's different. I'm sure we'll compare to the ILM model using generations, using the actual textures of the original miniature, and then the Gabriel Kernan version made for the 2 Canon version, and Tobias's version. There's a lot of stuff we can do here in comparing because, like I said, the D is a thing that went through changes. I mean, the top view is a classic angle. I'm sure I can find reference from the actual miniatures and compare. This might be a long video, guys, so stay tuned. But damn, it should be fun because it's just, you'd expect no less. But I'm glad to be, 89% whelmed. I'm right there with what I expected, which was obviously very high. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's time for you guys to tell us your thoughts. Comment down below. And let us know what you thought about our thoughts by hitting that like button and have a conversation. What you guys noticed, what you didn't notice, what we missed, what you might be included in our full breakdown. By all means, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and notified so you don't miss that. You don't want to miss any of our content because we have a lot of lives and edited content that really goes deep dive into this kind of stuff. If this is for you, then so are we. So please make sure you join up and hang out with us here on the channel.
And
every time.
And support us in what we do here. We do a lot. We aim to do a lot, and we need you guys' support to help us with this content that is both now and in the future, because there's lots of shows coming out, but less now that some are wrapping up. But we need your support through those smaller months. So support us via monthly. Be part of our fleet. Be on Enterprise DE. Those will all join the fleet eventually. Patreon. Join the channel on YouTube. Click the join button. Find the Patreon/Trekyards. Easy peasy supports in any way you can per month, or one-time donations, either super chatting on any video that you see us live, conversation with us. You can say hey, we can say hey, boom, magic's made. Or super thanksing. If you love Enterprise D and love our content on it, our full breakdown, super thanks, any amount helps a huge amount. Or one-time donation at trekyards@hotmail.com. That is the PayPal. We really do need these supports, and we love the warm fuzzy feeling of you guys want us to keep making content, and so we do. Because there's not many other steps involved, really. We keep going. Yeah.
All right, guys. So until next time, he is Commander Cockings.
He's Captain Foley.
And we'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.